I want to welcome you to On Patrol with Sargent Mike. This is a series we're going to be doing about the police department and some of the functions of it. Today I have with me Dennis Andre and Thomas Flint, both officers with the East Bridgewater Police. Dennis has been with us for 7 years. Tom's been with us for 16 years now. And we are all members of the SEMLEC Southeastern Mass Law Enforcement Council SWAT team as well. Today's subject, we're going to talk a little bit about less than lethal, or more specifically, we're going to talk about tasers. It's a program that we've introduced here at East Bridgewater Police very recently. Over the last 20 years, there's been many advancements in the East Bridgewater Police. We now have laptops in the car so that we can actually run plates right in the car. We don't have to call them into the station. They come back very quickly and we get all the information we need. We have portable breath tests that we can use right out on the street now. And one of the other tools, or one of the other advances that has come along, is the Taser. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about it and how it actually helps save on injuries, not only for officers, but also for the public as well. There's several studies out on this. One of them is a study by the National Institute of Justice. And I'm going to give you the websites for these in a second. And it suggests that all the evidence suggests that CEDs, or electronic devices, carry a lower risk than most alternatives. In other words, if you hit somebody with a nightstick, you could break a bone. If you use a taser, you're much less likely to have lasting injury. Now, the National Institute of Justice website is nij.gov, and you can look under their topic section for technology and less lethal, and you will see this one. There was also a study done by the American Medical Association in 2009, and it said that their report, when used appropriately, it can save lives during interventions with otherwise officers would have to use deadly force. In other words, if somebody has a knife, most cases officers would have to use a gun because that is deadly force. Where the taser gives you another option. If you have two officers, one could use the taser and potentially disarm that person without having to shoot them with deadly force with a regular gun. That one's under the American Medical Association.org, and you can look under their publications for news. You'll find that one. Another study was done by PERF, Police Executive Research Forum, and what they did, comparing the outcomes of several cases, showed that overall the use of electronic devices associated with a 70% reduction in the chance of an officer being injured. It also reduced the injuries on suspects by 40%. That one can be found at policeforum.org in their library, Use of Force. And the last study that I pulled up, and there are several more than just these four, was one done by the Department of Justice. Wake Forest University did an injury study back in 2009. And it showed that more than 99% of the subjects did not experience significant injuries after the electronic weapon was used or a taser was used on them. It showed medical examiners did studies and did not find that the electronic weapon was effective or caused the death in the people that they checked on. Mild or no injuries were observed when conducted electronic weapons were used. And that can be found on ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. And again, there are several other studies on these to show that these things can be effective and really assist police in their work. Now, you have to look at what the taser is and how it works, and how it works is electricity. Tom, can you tell us a little bit about the electricity?
Sure. Electricity is the flow of electrons through a conductor. They like to use, with the taser, they like to use a water analogy on that. They say that the voltage in a garden hose they use, voltage would be the pressure in the garden hose, and the current would be the flow rate, or how much you have gallons an hour coming out of it. The taser puts out 50,000 volts.
That's a lot of electricity.
It is. But the amps are very low. All right. So
having something high voltage is not necessarily going to hurt you.
correct. It's the amps that are the dangerous voltage.
Now, your regular wall socket, how many amps is your regular wall socket?
110 volt wall socket has 16 amps.
Okay, let's say your Christmas tree light bulb, a little light bulb.
Sure. That's 1 amp.
1 amp. And now how many amps are actually coming out of the Taser? I know it's 50,000 volts, but how many amps?
It's 0.0036 amps.
So a fraction
of
an amp is all that comes out of it.
Correct.
So it's not, again,
it's less than a Christmas tree bulb.
Less than a Christmas tree bulb, but the actual amps that come out of it. Now, we also got to ask how it works. So, Dennis, how does it work? How does the Taser work?
Basically what it is, it mimics and kind of runs in a line with your normal brainwave signal. Your brainwave signal, for instance, would shoot up and come like this. And what the Taser does, it kind of runs into that same thing and it'll have the exact same moan. But basically what it does, it tricks your mind. Because you have 3 main systems in your body, the central nervous system and the sensory nervous system. The central nervous system is the basic brain, almost like a computer brain, the brain and spinal cord that kind of commands everything. Then you have the sensory nervous system that brings the information back to the brain and kind of tells you how your body to react. And then you have the motor nervous system that carries the commands from the brain to the muscles. And what happens with the Taser, it's called neuromuscular interference, NMI. Basically what that does, it jams your brainwave. So your body can't react. It doesn't know what to do. And the normal reaction for it is that locks. And that's when you see videos or whatever of people locking up. Your brain doesn't know what to do or how to function with it.
All right. And we do have a video now on the evolution of the Taser and how it's changed over the years. We're going to show that video now.
And when you're ready, when you feel it, go.
Come get me, come get me. All right. All right.
We want you to attack the camera.
All right. You attack the camera.
Yeah. Once it's started.
Camera view. And when you feel it, go.
Now, again, the reason why tasers are used to help prevent injuries. We've had several arrests in the past that have resulted in officers going out injured. One of them had a broken finger and was out injured because of that. Another one of the injuries was a sprained wrist, and these are all due to making arrests where people struggle and you have to go hands-on and you're struggling with these people so you can get injured. Now, this is where a taser could really help. I mean, you could pull out your baton and swing and hit the person. You're probably going to get them to stop their aggressive action or stop doing what they're doing, but you're also going to injure them when you do this. Now, if you're using a taser, it's going to do it in a different way. It's going to jam the signals so they can't fight, they can't continue their violent action, and that will give you a chance to go ahead and wrap them up and put them in handcuffs while that's going on. It's not just when the taser goes off, the person freezes and you leave them alone. You actually have the officers go in and put the handcuffs on while the taser is running. This way, it prevents them from starting to fight once it's over. Okay. There's 2 modes of deployment, the way the taser is used. One of them is a drive stun. Now, the drive stun mode, what that does, if somebody is in a car and they're holding onto a steering wheel and not letting go when you're trying to get them out of the car, you can use the drive stun mode to do that. Now, to use the drive stun mode on this model, I'd flip the safety on, the cartridges are out, we already checked that it is safe. If you look at the front of it, you'll see the arc from the drive stun when I hit the trigger. And you can actually see how the electricity goes across. Now, that would be used to help loosen somebody's grip on the steering wheel and to help pull them out of the car. Now, in some cases you could do that, you could hit them with pepper spray to do that, but now you have the car that gets contaminated, the officer's going to take them out of the car, get contaminated with it as well, and you have to worry about the cleanup with that. You could use a baton to do that as well. Again, batons aren't just used for striking, they can be used for joint manipulation and for pulling somebody out of a car. But you have to get in really close to do it, and when you get in really close to do it, now you're exposing yourself and the things that you have on your belt to somebody grabbing them. So you have to be careful with that. With a taser, you can stand back and grab the wrist, hit them on the arm with the drive stun and pull them out. The second method would be a full probe deployment. Tom, you want to explain that?
Sure. On a full probe deployment, what would happen is this model of taser, we have two shots in it, and it gives you two lasers once you flip off of safe, and those two lasers are where the two probes that are inside will shoot out, and basically it makes a continuous arc when it hits you. Actually the points look like fish hooks basically, and there's a very thin wire that goes to each one. So when you hit the trigger for probe deployment, there'll be two lasers. That's where these probes will hit you. It depends on the spread on how far away you are from the subject, and the pulse rate on this is 19 times a second. So if you do a probe deployment, they're going to get the 50,000 volts with a very low amps, but it's 19 times a second on that.
And it basically overrides the muscles in the body.
Correct.
Between that spread. So when you have the probe, say in the abdomen and one in the leg, the electricity is running between that and locking up the muscles in between there so the person can't use them or can't control them to attack the officer.
Correct.
Now, we also have a video on how it could be effective against animals, because we do have animal calls all the time. You have a dog that attacks another dog or a dog that attacks a person, and as it's going after that person, if we get a call down there, we come up and the dog starts going after us, before you have one option. If the dog's attacking you, you have to use deadly force and you would shoot the dog. Now with the taser, it gives us another tool to use in our arsenal, so if the dog does come after us, we could actually use the taser to defeat that. And we're going to show a short video on that right now.
The dog tears off the leash and attacks Shedrick. To defend himself, he kicks down the dog. He continues to charge him. That's when Shedrick draws his weapon. In this situation, an officer has a right to shoot, but Shedrick doesn't. Another officer uses a taser, a non-lethal weapon that temporarily paralyzes an attacker.
I just had to tase one of them.
As you can see, the video shows that it is very effective on animals. As a dog attacks you, you can use that taser to stop that dog's aggressive action, and in most cases the animal feels that and sees what's going on. It doesn't want any part of that. It's going to be taken off and go in the opposite direction. And that's what happens with most cases with people. When you have an aggressive person that wants to fight or doesn't wish to comply, this is where it will come into effect that you could use this tool so that the officer doesn't get hurt fighting with the person, and the person doesn't get hurt with the officer, either hitting the person or attempting to place them under arrest or using a baton or things of that nature. And we actually have a great video from cops that shows a segment of this and shows how effective it is on an individual. And we'll show that video now.
I'll tell you what, right now you are under arrest for failing to stop when signaled by the police. Relax your hands. Relax your hands. Relax. This can go good or bad. I don't want it to go bad.
I don't care what happened. Hear that dog in there?
Okay.
Bring that dog out. I'll box that right now.
I want you to calm down, bud.
Calm down, man.
All right? I want you to...
What's the matter, man?
6'2" and another unit, please. Relax.
Your hands, man.
Relax your arms. There you go. Relax them. What's your first name?
Mike.
Mike? My name's Rob.
What's up?
Mike, we're going to put your hands behind your back. Do you understand? I don't want to fight you. You don't want to fight me. Relax your arms.
What's the deal, man? Wait, what you upset about tonight? Talk to me.
Todd, get the little thing out of your pocket. Relax. Mike,
Relax, man.
stop it. Probe in here in a second. You are under arrest. Do you understand?
For what?
For failing to stop when signaled by the police. Stop. You understand you're under arrest?
Go ahead.
Index, do it.
Okay.
Get on your back.
On your back.
On your stomach. Get on your stomach. Give it to him again.
No!
Okay. Put your arms out.
Oh, my.
Put your arms out.
Okay.
You gotta get it again, Mike.
Again.
I'm sorry, man.
Don't fight, Mike.
I won't.
Relax your hands.
Big guy here. Hold on. Put them together. Okay, relax your arms. Mine's locked.
Okay, I'm done.
Go ahead.
I'm done.
Okay.
Just calm down, man, okay?
I'm done, man.
All right. Good to go.
Sorry.
Good to go.
Mike, do you have some ID on you, sir?
In my wallet.
Is it in your back pocket?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to sit you up on your butt. You understand?
Okay.
I want you to stand up now.
Sorry, man.
Push his leg up under you.
Anything you want.
There we go. Spread your feet.
Man, that hurt.
Well, could have avoided it tonight, right? Could have avoided all that.
I have no, I'm not.
No weapons, no knives. I'm clean, man.
Do you have warrants? What's wrong there, Mike?
I'm just mad at the world, man.
Okay.
I can't do anything right.
I'm going to have you, well, today, tonight you didn't, okay? I'm going to have you seat right here on the car. Do you understand?
Okay.
The probes are still on, so don't get on
Hey,
there.
I'm done.
Right there.
That hurts.
Sit down there, Mike.
What's in that? Damn, that hurts.
You all right?
I'm all right.
Isn't it amazing how quick you recover? 6'2" name or routes deal.
How many volts?
50,000. How much you had to drink tonight?
I don't think I drank enough to get shocked like I did.
Well, you got shocked because you're...
So you can see how effective it really is on a person as well, or a subject, and how it actually does make them want to comply, and they don't want to fight the officer when you do use the taser. We're actually going to go into a couple of live demonstrations now on how the taser is used, and we're going to show it on a couple of live perpetrators or volunteers from our audience. We're going to go to that segment right now. Okay, we're going to welcome you here. We're going to be doing our test subject, our live test subjects. We have to thank our subjects. Our first subject up is going to be Captain Michael Signori. He's agreed to help us out here and volunteer for this. But before we get to that, we did talk about it has two different modes of deployment. The first mode of deployment for the taser is a drive stun. Now, the drive stun is where you would actually use it and press it up against the skin and use, without the probes, the electricity to gain compliance. Now, Officer Flint is going to show what that looks like. He's going to point it out so you can actually see what the electricity looks like going across it. Now you could see the spark going across the front. You could also hear the beeping, and what that is a countdown. It counts down 5 seconds. Now it's only going to run for 5 seconds because it's not used to maliciously or inflict pain on somebody. It's used to gain control and compliance over somebody. It's not meant to be used as a torture device or hurt anybody in that way. Just made to actually gain the control and compliance that you need. The second method of deployment would be a probe deployment. Now the tasers has two lasers contained in it. They're used as aiming devices. It has sights on it like a normal weapon would, so you could use the regular sights, but it also has lasers to help you aim. and to show you where the different probes are going. Now, if I had Officer Andre's going to help out with the section, he's going to turn it on, and you're going to see two different distinct lasers. The first one is a solid laser at the top here, and that one just stays there to let you know where the top probe is going to hit. The second one here, this blinking laser, shows you where the bottom probe is going to hit, or the rough area where it's going to go. There's a certain degree of separation. The further away you are, the further away these are going to hit. But it helps you aim these with the laser, and you can use the sight at the same time. So what we're going to do a live demonstration now, and we're going to show you what the probe deployment looks like. You're going to see a few things happening here. Now, a subject's going to get into a fighting stance like he's going to fight the officers. Now, there's a few things going to happen. When the deployment happens, the officer is going to yell, "Taser, taser, taser." And that's to let the other officers know that he is using a taser. So when we hear it, we know what's coming, we know what's happening. It also helps us prepare to help the subject. If the subject is fighting and we're grabbing a hold and he's fighting, and we hear taser, 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 we know what's going to come next. He's going to lock up, he's going to lose control of his body, and we're going to have to help him. If we didn't and we just step back, he would fall right down and he could hurt himself. And we don't want that to happen. So we're going to help control him and ease him down so he does not hurt himself when this does happen. All right, so what we're going to do, he's going to get into his fighting mode, get ready to fight us. We're going to latch on, so we're going to hold him, and Officer Andre is going to step in to help us out.
Taser, taser, taser.
All right. Now we were able to ease the subject down. You could hear him, a little bit of a grunt there because he is feeling the pain. You can see the probes here. One was hit back here, and one was hit up in the back. And what that does, it spreads it out. You saw his muscles lock up and he tensed up. And we actually had to help him down so he didn't just fall down on his face. Now, Mike, how do you feel right now?
Pretty good at this over.
Pretty good that it's over.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So when it happened, what did it feel like?
It felt pretty bad.
Pretty
I
bad.
had no control over anything. I couldn't move, couldn't function.
Couldn't move, couldn't function, okay, when it was happening. Now, when it stopped, was there any after effects, or was it when it was over, it was over?
When it was over, it was over.
Okay. And the thing is, we can help him down, and if you noticed, he was still locked up once we got him down. I have his arm right here, and I was almost right here into a handcuffing position where I could handcuff him and get him under control. So by the time he does come out of it and doesn't feel the effects anymore, we've already got him in custody. He's not hurting himself or us. So what we're going to do next is we're going to actually remove the probes and put some Band-Aids on and get our next subject up to show what this is going to be like. So we're going to do a little pause here so we can do this. Well, yeah, we shouldn't do the Band-Aid. What generally happens is when this runs for 5 seconds, it actually goes ahead and cauterizes the wound. So it's like a fish hook going in and sticking and holding so that the electrical charge can go. And then what it does is when it's riding so long for that 5 seconds, it actually cauterizes the wound. So you usually don't have much bleeding at all after this. And there's no lasting effects. He does have a hole in his shirt, may have a little nick in his back. We lift it up, there's a little bit of a nick and a little bit of blood. We put a Band-Aid on that, and it's all done. So we're going to get that Band-Aid, we're going to Band-Aid Mike up, and we'll get our next subject up to show it again. Second subject here is Matt. Matt Smith is with the East Bridgewater Fire Department. He's here to help us out. And what's going to happen is Matt's going to come at me. I'm a single officer. My backup is coming. And Matt latches on me to go fight. And my partner's going to help up and...
Taser, taser, taser.
Down he goes. And it's over. That quick.
Wow.
And again, we'd wrap Matt up, put him in handcuffs, take him into custody, and then we'll go ahead and do the medical portion and take care of the probes. As you can see, the Taser can be a very effective tool. We know this because as instructors, we went through a whole class on this and we were actually tased ourselves. So I've got to ask you, Dennis, how does it feel to be tased?
It's probably the worst thing I've ever felt. It's just you have no control. And the only thing that your brain says, well, the only thing that said my brain said to me was make it stop. That 5 seconds felt probably about 40 seconds long. I couldn't move if I wanted to. It was just the only thing that your brain thinks is make this stop.
It is very effective. It is very, well, it is painful. I'm not going to lie.
No, once the 5 seconds was up.
But once it's over, it's over. And how was your experience, Tom?
Same thing. Very painful. It's for 5 seconds. It does feel like Dennis said, it feels like it's forever. But unlike pepper spray or a baton, once that 5 seconds is up, you're completely fine. It's like flipping a light switch. So that's one of the good things about it. There's no lasting injury. Once the 5 second, if that's all you get hit, 5 seconds, you're good.
Okay. Now, as I said, I mentioned training. We all went through training to be instructors on this. We had to do 16 hours of training. We all did it at different times, but we also have to train our officers on how to use these. It's not like we just hand them over and say, okay, here you go, let's go, time to wear them. No, they have to go through a particular training that's set up by Massachusetts, and it's approved by Massachusetts. They have to do an online course through a college. We do a 4-hour block of actual training where we actually go into use of force. It's not just, you know, this is a taser and this is how it works. That's part of it. But there's a whole other segment of it. After we go over the nomenclature and how the taser works and how it deploys and how it's used, then we go into when you would use it and the different situations that you would get into. So we have a whole thing on use of force and when it can be used. And then we go into another segment on scenarios, and we actually have them going through scenarios on when you would actually use it. Would you use it in this situation? Would you not use it in this situation? So there are trainings that the officers have to do. They have to fire a couple of live cartridges during these trainings. This way they get the feel for it. They know exactly how it's going to work and what to expect when they're out there on the street and when they do have to use it. So we have to train each officer before they get to carry them as well. Now the town did purchase 5 units, 5 tasers, and we purchased holsters for each of the tasers that can be swapped off, and the officers will sign it out and use it during that shift. So there's enough for each one of the officers to have one on shift if they wish to do so. So this is going to be one of the programs that we're going to be rolling out here at the East Bridgewater Police Department. Now, I did want to mention, and I do have to, it's not a sponsor, but you may have noticed that I'm wearing a little bit different shirt underneath than the other gentleman. I'm wearing a pink shirt underneath, and what it is because October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and working with our firefighters, we are holding, I want to show you one of their shirts they do have available down there. It's to help support breast cancer awareness. The firefighters do have these available down at the fire department. You've probably seen it up here on the public access website as well. And these are available down at the fire department. But I do have to thank Officer Flint for coming out, Officer Andre for being here to help out with us, and I do have to put a special thanks out to Captain Mike Signori for being a real trooper and taking the ride, and firefighter Matt Smith from the East Bridgewater Fire Department for also coming up and volunteering to help us with our demonstration to show one of the things that the East Bridgewater Police is doing now. In the next show, I'm actually going to be talking with Detective John Grillo, and we're going to be talking about car seats and car seat installation and the laws in Massachusetts about the car seats. That's it for today's show. I want to thank you for watching, and good night.